A good, satisfying win for you at the weekend. How did you personally go away to celebrate that then on Saturday night?
We went across to the other side on Saturday, met a couple of the COD Almighty writers, spent a bit of time with them, and then drove home and watched some TV. So
You
nothing
know how to celebrate,
spectacular.
don't you?
Oh yeah, spoilt myself, and then obviously onto Southend and watched their game against Chesterfield, which was again played out in difficult conditions, but a good game, and certainly you can see why Southend are on a good run at the minute.
How's your injury situation looking from the weekend, Paul?
Obviously, we're speaking relatively early, but certainly nothing's really been flagged up from the weekend. Sean Pearson had a tight groin going into the game on Saturday. Obviously got through, as you saw, but was conscious that he was tight afterwards. I think yesterday he felt better than he thought he would. So we will need to just check that one, as in how he feels. We're obviously not going to overtrain this morning, but just to check when he's really moving around, how he feels. John McAtee, as I said after the game, had a fitness test. He had trained Thursday and Friday, so there's no trying to hide anything from anyone. But right at the end of training, we're doing a bit of crossing and finishing, and he just felt something, he had felt it previous, but didn't want to say anything, and then he just felt it again as he made contact with the ball. He got through the game fine, and said afterwards that he felt fine, almost as though it had kind of gone. But I'm just whether a bit more sceptical on it. That again, we'll need to just make sure that he is fine this morning. They were the only two from memory, and obviously coming back, we haven't got anyone back in terms of players back, maybe for Saturday, but we'll have to see how this week goes.
Talking specifics, what was John's niggling problem then?
Well, he said he felt like a bit like a dead leg, but kind of behind the knee again, where he had the previous injury. So straight away, the kind of a little concern there. But I think generally from seeing Dave Moore, etc., feel that it is different and just a bit of a coincidence that it's in the sort of same area. So hopefully John will be fine.
You're a bit light in that area, aren't you? Obviously, you've got Linnell, John Lewis out on loan at York. Will he be coming back then at the end of his initial month's loan?
That was the plan. I mean, what I would say is that situation changed slightly in terms of when we had those injuries and bringing Manny in. So that gave us another option. If Ryan comes back fit, then that's something I'll have to look at and speak to Lenny with as well. I think Lenny would love to be involved here, but at the same time, if he felt he wasn't going to be in the team, then it may benefit, because the other thing that happened is the first couple of games he was due to play were called off. So he hasn't got quite as many games in as probably we would both have liked, and York, I would imagine. So we'll assess that, and it's coming up relatively quickly, but we'll maybe know more, like I say, depending on how training goes this week.
York's game on Tuesday is his final league game, I think, that he can play for them, because he's cup tied given the trophy situation for the weekend. Have they indicated to you that they want to keep him then? Because the suggestion seems to be that he's done really well there.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched, I haven't seen Saturday, but I watched a couple of previous games. Chris went and saw him live at Fylde. I've watched that on video and watched the one against Guiseley. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I haven't had that conversation, Matt, with John Askey or anyone else from York, but it wouldn't surprise me if they would like to keep him.
But you wouldn't completely rule it out then, him staying there?
Not entirely. Like I said, initially it was definitely just for that period. Again, I have to just try and weigh up everything. I think the advantage you get from, if it is extended, is we can put a call back in after that first 28 days where you can't. So it wouldn't mean that we've lost him for the rest of the season or anything like that. We would be in our sort of favour to be able to recall.
Does the same apply to Luke Spokes' loan or not?
We've got a call back in Luke's deal, yes. So I know at the weekend he played, I think just over 80 minutes for him. And while he's playing, and while we've obviously brought another midfield player in, then we've got that comfort if we feel we need it. But I'd like Luke to sort of get as many minutes as possible.
Without necessarily giving the whole game away, talking specifics, all things being equal, would you need to change your team, do you think?
Without being unkind to sort of some of the players or anything, I don't feel like we've got lots of options, Matt. Can make one or two sort of changes, I would suggest. But it's a difficult one. We've got a long travel. We've then got obviously another long travel at the weekend. And while we try and do everything we can so the players get the best preparation, there's no doubt it's tiring. It may sound a bit silly, but I think even the staff feel it in turn, and they're not doing the physical side of the job either. But it does take it out of you. It'd be a late return, I would say Wednesday morning more than anything. So I'll consider those things, but as we speak, the reality is probably we haven't got too many sort of ways to change it.
Did Manny need to do a little bit more other than score the goal to sort of force his way into your thinking for a start? It's a bit too early for that.
Not particularly. I wouldn't say he needs to do loads more. Manny came in and trained really well and was unfortunate not to start that first game that he was available for us at Dover. I just felt that with Tristan, he hadn't had that opportunity to play, and that if perhaps I'd gone the other way, that that could have knocked Tristan back further. Whereas he got his goal Saturday, although he didn't score, I think he was probably his best performance. So hopefully he's gaining confidence, and Manny scoring the goal again. Fingers crossed that should bolster him as well. So we want players that are feeling good about themselves, because we talk about confidence and how that helps players' performances. So yeah, there's a possibility that Manny could start. I wouldn't particularly rule that out. He's certainly one that's I think is a possibility and something to consider.